for joining me today. My name is Shannon and I am the Literacy and Innovation Specialist at the Ingersoll branch of the Oxford County Public Library. I hope you're enjoying Family Literacy Day so far and you've had fun with all of our activities. Now it's time for us to try and make two different variations of snow dough. I really like winter and snow, but sometimes we don't get a lot of snow outside. Or it's the middle of summer and you just want to make a snowman. These are the recipes for you to be able to do that. We're going to try two different variations of a snow dough recipe that are very simple and very hands-on. Our first recipe is going to use baking soda, shaving cream, and some glitter. You will also need a container. I have a clear container here. You could use a bowl or a plate, and something to help you start stirring. I just have a regular spoon. Recipes of all sorts, whether it's something that you can play with or something that you can eat, are great literacy activities for families to do together. We are talking about measuring, we're talking about amounts and percentages, we are reading ingredients and following instructions. So let's begin. For this recipe, we need 1 cup of baking soda. So I can read on my measuring cup that I have 1 cup. And I'm just going to pour it in. So 1 cup of baking soda in my container. And this recipe is a great one to start with if you're just learning about measurements and following instructions, because it's pretty open-ended. So we have 1 cup of baking soda, but with the shaving cream, you just add as much as you'd like until your snow dough is to the consistency that you want. So you could maybe count to 3, do 3 seconds of spraying shaving cream. You could measure shaving cream into a container and then add it to your snow dough. So it is whatever you'd like to do, but a fun literacy activity could be to make your very own recipe and write it down so you can refer back to it later. I'm going to shake up my shaving cream and just add a little bit. Okay, and now I'm going to start to mix with my spoon, or you can mix with your hands right from the start. So my snow dough stays together, but I think it's a little too powdery still. So that is the baking soda. So if my snow dough feels a little bit too powdery, what do I need to add? I'm going to add, I think, a little bit more shaving cream, and I want to add some glitter to make sparkly snow dough. So this recipe, like I said, it goes off of how much you think you need, and you could switch it up. You could maybe make a double batch. How many cups do you have to put in if you double the batch? These are all great Family Literacy Day activities that you can do together and problem solve. Okay, it's mixed pretty good in the container, but I think I need to start using my hands. And there we go, my very own snow dough snowball. So when you are happy with the consistency of your dough, you can build with it and see what other things you can make. What else could you add to your recipe? Or how would you describe your dough? Mine feels fluffy, maybe a little bit squishy. And a fun sensory idea you could do with this recipe is to put your baking soda in the freezer before you start mixing it. And then it's going to feel cold, just like real snow. There we have it. 1 simple snow dough recipe you can try at home. You can also turn this snow dough recipe into a science experiment. You might know what happens if you add vinegar to your baking soda. So So try that out at home. Make your very own snow dough with baking soda and then add a little bit of vinegar and see what happens. So our first batch of snow dough turned out really good, but I have another variation of a different recipe that you could try at home. This recipe for snow dough uses cornstarch and vegetable oil and still some glitter to make it sparkly. You will need a container, a spoon, cornstarch, oil, glitter, and some measuring spoons. So to begin, we need 1 cup of cornstarch. But I used my 1 cup for the baking soda and now it's dirty. How can I make 1 cup? Recipes have great opportunities for early math concepts and talking about these problem-solving skills. So I'm going to use my ½ cup and I'm going to fill it twice to make 1 full cup. There we go, cornstarch in our container. And now we're going to start with a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. I'm going to pour it together and start mixing. So this recipe already looks a little bit different. So if you're using these same ingredients at home, what do you notice about the oil and the cornstarch? It might be the color, might be the texture. And there we go. This recipe made a big glob of snow dough. And this looks like it's stickier than the other snow dough recipe that we did. And I'm gonna add a little bit of glitter. I notice with this recipe too, it has a different color. So my vegetable oil has a yellow color to it, and so does my dough. If your snow dough is not to the consistency, it doesn't feel how you'd like it to feel, you can add maybe more cornstarch if it's a little wet and sticky, or if it's too powdery, you might need to add more oil. And there we have it. Another ball of snow dough. This one stays together really well. And cornstarch is really fun to play with. It feels almost like silly putty or Play-Doh. So now that your dough is ready to go, you can start building. Descriptive words are a really great literacy activity to do together as a family. So if you have this object in front of you, how would you describe that to somebody? What does it look like? What does it smell like? What does it feel like? This one is pretty sticky. It's stuck to my hand. But it also feels smooth and squishy and doesn't really smell like anything. You could use baby oil as well in this recipe instead of vegetable oil, but it's not safe to ingest, so if you have little ones that might end up putting some of this in their mouths, maybe stick to a vegetable oil or an edible oil. And there you go. Another way you can make your very own snow dough inside. Well, both of our snow dough recipes turned out really well, and they are still staying. This is one type of snow that's not going to melt. This snowball on the plate is our baking soda snow dough. And this little snowman is our oil and cornstarch. And of course, there are some great titles to go along with this activity for you to do as a family. We have the annual Snowman's Ball, where it looks like they're serving up some snowy treats to eat. And here we have Snowball Soup by Mercer Mayer. And Snowmen All Year Round, which is something you could have if you made it out of snow dough. You could make snow dough recipes in the middle of the summer when there is no snow outside. And then you too could have a snowman all year round. Try out some of these recipes at home. Check out these titles and so many more in our catalog at www.ocl.net. And stay tuned for more fun Literacy Day things to come. Thanks for joining me today. Happy playing!